So, like, what's something that you learned from your coaches back in the day that you kind of try to teach to the ball players out here at WCC?
It's funny. I guess the biggest thing is not how one says things. It's what that person said. Like what they say, basically. As far as I know, we have the stereotype of women being very emotional and stuff like that, and I don't think it's necessarily true. I think it's just depending on that personality.
So everybody's got emotions,
right?
How much
right.
you hide
We're all
it,
human at the end of the day. It's just kind of
Yeah.
how much you're taking it with.
Or some people, a lot of people are a wreck by themselves.
Yeah. And so that's one of the
biggest.
biggest things. I mean, yes, I'm a very emotional athlete, and it took me a while to really mature and to really understand the concept of what that person's saying, not how that person's saying it. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so, and constructive criticism.
Right.
And it's not because that person hates you, it's more so that person cares and wants to see you succeed. And so that was one of the biggest things that I had to partake in and kind of just really, really focus on, hey, take the emotions out and really focus on being an actual player, an athlete, and, taking the criticism and working in it. And that was one of the biggest things as far as being an outcome-based athlete. That's one of the biggest challenges that I've faced, was that it's not always about the result. It's about the process.
Mm-hmm.
And slowly I started to see, that's where the emotions have to really be separated from kind of just being locked in. And so, but I.
So you can kind of repeat bad habits if you this is what I'm doing right, and there's nothing else to it.
Yeah, exactly. So I try to really stay away from the terminology insanity, and so and I try to always change things up just because it's like, maybe we're doing that too much. It's like taking a test. You don't know the answer to the test. When in doubt, pick C, or you start to look back at your test.
25%
Yeah, you start to look back at your answers like, that's too many C's. Maybe change it up a bit. It's the same thing. So
yeah.
But it's those. I mean,
the trick is to not guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Before the test, you figure out how not to guess. Right.
Just to study, right?
Yeah.
It would be a lot better. But
like if your teacher tells you this is not the right way to do a math equation, you take that as like a personal thing. You're never going to get that math problem right.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly. But no, it's definitely something that I've learned from these coaches, and work ethic especially. And that I learned from my dad from the get. I definitely appreciate the work ethic he showed me, that I wanted to put that in my craft. And the more I got older and the more experience I got, and I started to become a huge fan of the process rather than being outcome based. And especially later down in my college career, that's when I started to grind on my own. Okay, cool, yes, we have day off, but maybe let's go get some extra work, maybe some cardio, maybe just get the blood flowing type deal. And so I saw how important it is to just keep your body healthy and moving, and kind of just keeping that stamina up. We got 60 games in a season, so it's like, gotta be prepared for that. 7 innings is a lot, right? So you never know how long it would go. Double, like games that are tied, international tiebreakers, all that stuff. So it's part of the grind.
That extra day of work gives you that extra push in the 6th and 7th.
Not only physically but mentally too. And so that's what I also learned with my coaches in college, is that the more you push yourself physically, the stronger you are mentally. And when you're tired, when your brain first registers that oh man, I'm tired, you're only 75 to 50% tired physically. So, and I didn't really think about that. I didn't know that either. So I was like, man, I'm tired. They're like, no, you got 75% more. You got 50% more.
Yeah.
Empty out that tank. And Coach Wynn, I will never forget Coach Wynn.
Shout out to Coach Wynn.
Yeah, who was my outfield coach at Arizona State, and that was one of the things she would always say every time we would do 6 a.m.s, and they would be there, and we would do some sprints and stuff, and she's like, "You are not tired."
Yeah.
And it's one of the biggest things. She's like, "You guys have to empty out the tank, and I'm like, "I'm sure my tank is empty. I'm sure, I'm positive." But you didn't really until that extra oomph had really kicked in, and you really, I started to contemplate life as I'm sprinting, and I'm like, man, I don't even know if I want to do this anymore. I don't know. I can't. No, it's one of those, that constant battle, that internal battle that I started to have mid sprint. And then next thing you know, once we got to that finish line, or closer to that finish line, I started to no, I want it. This is what it feels like. If this is what it takes to win a championship, then I'm past this line, and I'm gonna try to be the first. I'm gonna try to beat the person next to me. And that was one of the biggest moments that I've started to turn mentally, that I do have that extra gas in my tank that I'm able to get rid of. And so, and as soon as I crossed that line, I just, it's empty now. It's empty for sure. But no, that's one of the biggest things is keep pushing even when you're tired, especially, and it relates to late innings in the game, 7th inning, we're tied, whatever the weather is, maybe if it's hot or if it's cold, who's going to finish the game? Someone has to win at the end of this game. And, it's more of a decision, it's a demand. Getting up at 6 a.m. is a decision. You can easily say, no, I'm not going to go. You can easily say, no, I want the easy way out. All that stuff. Everything we do in our control is a decision. I definitely learned from that, and it's tough. It is tough to take it the challenging road, but at the end of the day, it really helped and molded me into the athlete and the coach I am today, honestly. So it made me push other girls. It made me want the win for them, as far as this program. And I think that's the most beautiful thing about this process as a coach and an athlete.